The education you get in law school, it does not prepare you at all for the work that you do as a lawyer. Friday evening, we are all going out to have a drink on the stairs of Phoenix Mall, which was close from my office. My batchmate sitting there and crying. I had something like shift in me that day. I decided that I have to go and build a course which solves this problem. And by 2017, 15% of NUJ's university's entire budget came from the profit share of our courses. I am getting 100 calls a day, everybody abusing me, saying that you're a fraud, you sold us this course of NUJS, now NUJS is not picking up the phone, not giving us diploma, they've suspended all the courses, what will happen?
Today, on the show, we have a guest who runs his own EdTech business away from the limelights of ups and downs of the whole EdTech industry, but has built a fundamentally strong business which has recently done its IPO, a oversubscribed IPO. I got more intrigued when I knew about his journey from a time where he had to start a concept of EdTech just to sustain his own college fee hike. His journey started from a basic concept of EdTech during his own college time, but then he made a multi-crore business. He's none other than founder of LawSikho, a skill arbitrage EdTech business. Today on the show, let's welcome Ramanuj. So Ramanuj, now tell me about your background journey. How did you start this? What was your childhood like? How's the background story look like?
Okay, so let me start from the story of how I decided to study law.
Okay.
I was in a Bengali medium school in Howrah, and generally in our whole environment, you are supposed to study. If you're a good student, you should study engineering or medicine. That was the idea. Basically, for me, engineering everybody was doing, so I had a little bit of allergy to it because everybody was doing it. So I thought I will study medicine. I started preparing for WBJE medicine, but then I came across law as a discipline. I didn't know what law is like, what happens. I had no example also in front of me.
And there's nobody in family who's done law, which you
No.
looked up to? No. Oh, interesting.
I saw in this newspaper that there is a career counseling session regarding law. So I just went there, like out of curiosity, I went there.
In Howrah itself?
No, this was in St. Xavier's school. So
Acha.
I caught a bus
Ah.
and went to Calcutta from Howrah to listen to this thing.
Acha.
Interesting thing, he talked about how law is the language of authority. Like the whole world works. It's like it felt like kind of a software for the whole world. The world runs. Like these are the rules.
The protocol.
Protocols and all of that. So I felt that this is very interesting for me and I want to do it. So I got this idea that someday I will work for United Nations, I'll be a diplomat. This is what I created. So in my mind, and I went and told my parents that I want to study law.
And how did they react?
Very badly. So literally my father was crying that, first they obviously tried to kind of, stop me from pursuing that. So basically, I told them my plan is that if you don't support me studying law, which you can stop me because I don't have the money to write the exam and all of that. I'm writing board exam anyway. After that, I will take admission in a normal college. I will not do any JE. I'm not writing. Do whatever you want. I didn't even fill up the form. So finally, eventually, after a month or two, they gave up. And then I knew that I don't want to go to those traditional law colleges. I wanted to get into a top law college. That year, I got into NUJS, but through the waiting list. And I was like, the person after me in the waiting list got into, but I didn't want to. So I realized that I went to a Bengali medium school all the time, so I didn't know English. And this was a problem, right? So I took a drop year, prepared again. And next year, I had rank 2 in that national admission test. More than that, the English preparation that I learned, I taught myself English in that 1 year. I started actually memorizing a dictionary for improving vocabulary. I read a lot of books. I got a membership in British Council Library, started watching movies, and I will pause every dialogue and repeat it.
I think a lot of these things are so relatable, and I'm sure so relatable to a lot of the middle class population in India. Who try to probably learn the English or come up to the level of communication that the whole corporate world or the whole, this new world needed.
So I always believed that I will improve, that this is temporary. So whatever struggle that was there, and I think that was a fundamental belief that whatever problem is there, whatever I'm trying to do, I'm failing, it's temporary. Things will be better. But yeah, once in college, so my mind about, I wanted to be a diplomat, right? So that's what was, fueling me. But once I joined college, I realized that basically being a diplomat is a government job. You have to crack UPSC and get into IFS. Then you can be a diplomat. Or there have been diplomats who are politically very influential. Like Ram Jethmalani was India's ambassador to US for a while. So if you have that kind of political strength, so that is not like something that I could figure out. So I decided, okay, now it's time to change my idea of what I want to do. So I decided I want to be a corporate lawyer, because in NUJS there were these people who would get 1 lakh rupee jobs in top law firms. So I started working towards that. Got many offers, chose one, and I chose, out of all the big law firms, I chose the one law firm which was like the most startup-y law firm. Because during college I also by chance got introduced to the startup scene, and I really liked it. So I remember, I watched Social Network movie had come. I think I was in third year in college, something like that, and I saw this movie Social Network about Facebook, right? So then I also saw on Facebook that there is an event called Startup Saturday happening in Sector 5 Salt Lake, and somebody from college was going, so I thought I'll also go. And I went there, and I saw there was this entrepreneur who is speaking about a data protection software he has created. This is like an IIT Kharagpur graduate who's building a startup. So he talks about how he's building this software, how he's raising some money, and
interesting,
all of that. So I sat down and listened to him. And when he finished, he went outside for a cigarette. Okay. I followed him outside, and I told him about that the data protection rule has just come out back then, 2008, and of the Information Technology Act. So I started telling him about those, the data protection rules and everything. So he said, very nice. So he gave me his card and said, keep in touch. Normally, people don't keep in touch if you get the card, right? I did. I used to mail him every time I would find I used to read all these newsletters, and if there's a data protection related something, I'll forward it to him.
Okay.
So I must have mailed him 3-4 times in a month. So after a month, he replies saying that, share your number, and then he calls me and he sets up a meeting. And it was also in Salt Lake. So I go and meet him, and he's like, so basically he was trying to recruit me. I didn't understand.
Okay.
But he would be like, okay, so he would invite me for dinners and drinks and all of that. So I would go, and there were all these 4 or 5 IIT guys who recently graduated, living in one house. One room is the office, and the whole wall is covered with sticky notes with the product development plan. And they live in the same house, and they, after 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, they, few bottles of Old Monk and all of that. So I was thrilled by, these people out of college, they're building a company, they're raising $2 million. So eventually they would be like, can you draft contracts for us and all of that. I started doing that. They wanted to hire me in sales. Smart move, but I didn't join.
Okay.
But I were drafting their agreements, I was helping them. And the whole thing really had a big impact on me, because I wanted to do this. So the whole idea that, out of college you can build a company. And, I could see they're enjoying their work, they're thrilled, and they're all of that, So I got really liked the idea. So I wanted to build my own startup.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to build a software. I couldn't get any software engineer or anybody to work with me. What I did, I ended up building a distribution. So I built a blog. There were followers. I was active on social media. Social media was much lesser than what it is today. But I did whatever I could, and I was regularly posting. So I built an audience. So when I was in 4th, 5th year, I already ended up building an audience. And other thing I did, which was very valuable, is that I started working with a lot of startups. So this was one startup which I helped. So then I said, can I help 10 more startups? So I'll meet business people, and I started an LLP. I printed my business cards, and I came up with this idea that I will do legal risk management for businesses. So I will predict what legal risks may be there in your business by looking at your business model, study it, and then I'll give you solutions that you can do to prevent from the legal risk from actually materializing.
How LawSikho happened?
So LawSikho happened much later. LawSikho was in 2018. I'm talking about now 2010.
Acha.
So I started a blog, which is IPOs blog. Now it is one of the largest law blogs in the world.
Even today?
Even today.
Oh.
And that continues, right? So it has like 2 million users, 70,000 visitors per day, 2.5 million unique users per month. Because there are so many users. I get a lot of leads from there. Like it's one of my major organic lead sources even today. And it has become such that law students read it for their, instead of reading a textbook, they might read the blog. They will do their projects from there. They grow up reading the blog.
This is exactly, what I've been telling to a lot of people, that often, when you look at startup, you think them as a overnight success, but look the story behind. Like in your case, you practically started building the base of it almost 10 years without probably even knowing you were building the base of it.
Correct. Absolutely. We had no idea.
There was a whole, distribution, whole layer of, understanding the market, talking to other people, etc. that you have been doing. And then one fine day when you start your business, you get the whole advantage and people think it's overnight success.
Exactly. Those are really powerful lessons, who to hire, how to delegate work, the fact that they will disappoint you, how do you plan for that. I even had I created SOPs for people because onboarding people and training them was difficult. So I'll give it to them from the beginning. And hiring the right people, all of that, it was brilliant. So all of that happened. So there was a lot of preparation. So I will tell you fast forward how I got into
the
EdTech. LawSikho happened in 2018. So 2011 I joined a law firm.
Okay.
One of the India's top law firm.
Okay.
And they had the highest package also, and they were so I wanted to be a startup at some point, right? I already knew I wanted to do startup eventually. When I went there, it was very disappointing for me because first of all, I was used to doing my own things, running my own business, making my own money, and the education you get in law school, it does not prepare you at all for the work that you do as a lawyer. So after 6 months, I was almost depressed. I was depressed, right? I was getting out of bed was getting difficult. It was very clear it was not only me, it was happening to all my other batchmates. So Friday evening, we are all going out to have a drink. And on the stairs of Phoenix Mall, which was close from my office in India Bull Center. So there's this, my batchmate who works one floor above me in a different law firm, sitting there and crying on the steps. He got fired that day because he made a mistake. This is a really hard-working guy from my college, very smart, not a topper, but always very diligent and all of that. And now he's like a very successful lawyer in a sovereign wealth fund. So I was like, how did this guy got fired? And I had something shift in me that day. I decided that I have to go and build a course which solves this problem. And then I created a curriculum, went and pitched it to my own alma mater. Actually, we had kind of pitched it before this, but this thing made us go even harder at that thing. And we got an approval eventually. By the time we was finishing 1 year in trilegal, we got the approval. University said, see, we are not going to launch this course, but you guys launch it if you want to. We'll not give you any money. But if you make money, if you have enrollments, give us 30%, 70% you take, and you pay the cost also from there.
Acha.
Right? So ours, 30% is ours, you say. So something like that. So basically we left our job, made a website, started selling the course. And it absolutely, unbelievably did really, really well. So 20,000 rupees price, and we sold it to 500 people. So we made 1 crore in the first year itself. And there were 2 people, 3 people team, hardly, walking out of a bedroom. But you know why it worked? Because we had all these followers from our blog. And we had all of these people following us on social media. And when we came out and wrote this story, that this is the problem you face in a law firm, this is why you should know this. It was very authentic, very real. A college cannot do that. We were able to explain, and the syllabus made sense. So a lot of people started buying that course and they got great results. So it started growing. So at one point, the vice chancellor of NUJs, we had moved. So this happened in Bombay. Then we moved to Delhi.
Okay.
We moved to Delhi because my co-founder Abhyuday, his parents insisted that we should move to Delhi because, they wanted him to be in Delhi.
Okay.
They offered us you can work out of this small office. Also, they provided to us.
Acha.
And and Abhyuday had to shift to Delhi. So if I stayed back in Bombay, then the team will break.
Okay.
So we all shifted to Delhi. And so the vice chancellor of NUJS was in Delhi. So he came and met us one day. And he said that you guys should expand these programs because we need to pay 7th pay commission money to our professors. But it's not possible because we can't increase the fee. Students will protest. But NLS Bangalore does 8 crore revenue per year at this point from distance courses. You guys have done 1 crore, so maybe you can also scale up. Then we'll have the money that we need. We started growing like anything. We launched more courses. Everything did really well. Fast forward, long story short, this was 2012-13, right? We started launching all these courses. 2012, we started with NUJS. In our company, but in NUJS. With NUJS courses. And by 2017, 15% of NUJS university's entire budget came from the profit share of our courses.
Amazing.
And it was doubling every year. So in 2018, we knew it will be 30% of the university budget. But then what happened? There was a student protest over the vice chancellor for some reasons. A new vice chancellor came, who was a stopgap vice chancellor. He came and shut down all the courses overnight, saying that what is this private company ke saath? How can you work like this? This must be some problem and all. So we were overnight suddenly, because the university got money and then they paid us and they stopped paying us. And we had all this student enrolled in university's courses, not our course. But obviously the university doesn't pick up phones if they call, right? So they call and abuse us. And so we found ourselves in this situation in 2018, month of April, May, that I am getting 100 calls a day, everybody abusing me, saying that you're a fraud, you sold us this course of NUJS, now NUJS is not picking up the phone, not giving us diploma, they've suspended all the courses, what will happen? And at the same time, I don't have money to pay my vendors, don't have money to pay my employees, because last money that I had in month of May, I gave it to my employees, said that, look, 40% of their salary you were able to pay. Month was not over. In the beginning of the month, only we realized it's not going anywhere. So we paid everybody, said go find another job. So people started, whatever rest of the salary will pay eventually. When I make money, I'll somehow, it's my guarantee, I'll pay. You guys find a job in the meanwhile, because this thing is not getting resolved. And we filed cases against the university, helped the students to file cases against the university. But that would take years to resolve. We won all those cases eventually. But we got even a lot of our money from the university eventually. And told the vendors that we don't have money. So brilliant thing happened is the vendors said that you always paid us on time. You always treated us well. You take more credit. And there were 14 people in my team who said, we'll stay back. Let's try one more time without university if we can make it work. Product market fit is there, so let's try once. So I had started this platform called LawSikho about 6-7 months back, where I was trying to launch the courses that the university wouldn't let us launch. So I launched there. So we said, okay, let's focus on this now. We said, okay, let's fully work on LawSikho, and we set this condition that if in the first month we can do at least 5 lakh of revenue, then we'll be able to pay the office rent and 50% of the salary of these 14 people. Okay? Then we will continue. Otherwise, we will shut down and find jobs. Last day of the month, we have done 3.5 lakh of sales. So I am now in a little doubt that what do I do? 5 lakh to hua nahi, so probably wrap up.
This is the very first month when you launch.
First month, okay. Then a mail went out saying that last day of enrollment. And enrollment started pouring. All the people who I had spoken to, they were not buying, they started buying.
The FOMO kicked in.
Before the night was over, there was 8.5 lakh revenue in our account.
From 3.5 lakh to
5 lakh revenue came in one day. They were like, oh my God.
See, this is the real product market fit. When you're able to drive FOMO just because, you said this is last day of registration, etc., and people came in this like real product market fit because people became desperate for something.
Correct. So
Which shows the whole need of it.
very good point. So, that's what I that day I got, yes, product market fit is there, we got a skill. And it was a new thing for me because I was not sure कि ये university के वजह से ही लोग course करते होंगे हमारा, right? But this showed me that this is not true. There is no university. We are in the bottom of the pit, and still people want to do this course because of the course content, what they're learning from it. So it works. So we focused on law students and recent law graduates who are not able to get a job. We could train them and they will get a job. And we are not even able to track what success they were getting, but people just did the course because they knew that these are the thing I have to do in the job. And even if I get a job, there will be people who will get a job, struggle, and then enroll in our courses because that information is not available otherwise in a structured manner anywhere. So we are focusing on that market. I had a brainwave in 2019 and I'm focusing on the wrong market. Law student and recent law graduates are the people who don't have money. They're struggling.
Okay.
You should focus on people who have money. Who are the people in legal industry who have money? People who are practicing 5-10 years, earning 1 or 2 lakh rupees. How can I help them? So I realized that most of these lawyers are stuck in some certain traditional practice areas, civil litigation, criminal litigation, real estate. Now, can I help them to get into more lucrative areas of practice and make it streamlined and easy? Technology law, IP law, people have interest, but they can't learn it very simply. Like, it's just too complicated to switch practice areas or even learn a new practice area. So I started building courses which will facilitate that. And then that took us to like a much bigger, 1 crore type of per month revenue. So we had a major growth till the pandemic was starting. January, February 2020, all these things just kind of warming up. Pandemic is going to happen. Nobody knows, but by that time we're doing 1 crore revenue per month, doing very well. Very happy we had a great growth.
How did the whole pandemic change the picture for you?
That's what I'm coming to. So what happens is that during the pandemic, the legal industry was hammered. So people, like, it would be like, why would people do our course? Because they either get an internship or they get a job or they get clients in new practice areas. Internships cancelled. Nobody knows when internships will happen again. So it is like April, May, June, right? Of 2020.
Yeah.
Then jobs cancelled. People who had job offers they had joining letters all cancelled indefinitely. Existing clients are not paying money. They are giving you some work, but courts are closed. Even if you get some work, you don't get paid for it. They are like, बाद में pay करेंगे, अभी नहीं है. Because everybody is conserving cash.
Yeah.
So lawyers suddenly were in a very bad situation. So they were like, even if we want to, we'll watch free YouTube videos where our organic things were getting traction, but that revenue were gone. Like, not gone, we are doing still, we held our revenue to 1 crore revenue, that kind of, 70, 80 lakh, 1 crore. But our growth, which was happening rapidly, flattened completely. So, no growth. 6 months, no growth. We are fighting to hold the line. And not only that, I would get a lot of calls from my students that, sir, I'm going back to my village from Delhi or Bombay because I can't afford rent anymore. I'm in such a bad situation, not able to pay EMI. I don't know what to do. Please help. Can't you do something? I had joined this course with some hope. Abhi to what to do? So then we got this. So November 2020, I got this brainwave again. When I was working remotely. I was in Shantiniketan in an Airbnb, working from the terrace every day.
Okay.
Every day I'm doing live webinars, all of that. And then I realized I am working remotely, my whole team is working remotely. So the lawyers in US also are working remotely. Is it possible that lawyers here can work for the lawyers in the US as a paralegal? You don't have license to practice law, but can you work as a paralegal, help them to draft, help them with research or whatever possible? So I thought it is possible. So then I launched a course as an experiment on US Patent and Trademark Office related work. And 70 people enrolled in that course to learn US Patent and Trademark Office work from India.
Wow.
And lot of those people started earning a lot of money, like 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh, 2 lakh. People who are doing, and it's not like they didn't have to finish the course. There were people who learn a few skills and go start working on, Upwork, Fiverr, freelancer.com, people per hour, and they'll get good money for doing. And so I realized, oh my god, this is a huge, looks like this is working, right? And then I just rolled out every course in US law that I could think I could sell in India. US business law, US contract law, US corporate law, US real estate law, everything. And that gave us a massive, and people were getting that work. They will start getting work remotely in the US or as a paralegal.
So did you also do something to help them get this work after the
Yeah.
courses?
So initially we were not doing, but gradually we built up teams, which was like, helping them to learn to pitch. So very soon my courses evolved from learning skill to don't learn only skill. Skill is only one part. There are 3 pillars. One pillar is skill. You have to learn the skill, how to do the work there, right? But you also have to learn how to build your track record. So go help some startups for free if required, but create your case studies. So we teach lawyers to create case studies, right? Find the problem, solve that problem, create a case study. How long did it take? How did you do it? And that builds a track record. It should be a visible track record that somebody can find. They can verify that, oh, you have done these things. And then outreach program. You should have an outreach program. How do you reach out to potential clients? How do you write to Silicon Valley founders? How do you write to startup founders in India? How do you write to SME business owners in US or Europe? How do you crack all these platforms? Different platforms are easy to start with, but how do you then build your own cold email program so that you can get
Interesting.
your own clients directly, and lot of stuff like that, right? How do you network? So a lot of courses around that. But we realize that if we have to get success, we have to have more. More people are successful. That creates a success. So we started building teams like performance coaching. People who will call you and set your target, weekly target, push you towards it, remind you, push you, nudge you. Then we build placement teams who are like sourcing work from all over the world, freelance work, jobs, internships, and India also, outside India also, and pushing you to get those things. Helping with your CV, with your interview prep, with, helping you to build your track record. So lot of work goes into that.
Often, when we look at businesses, we look at industry, what problem you're trying to solve, etc. But it's a moment like these, where we understand that there are so much of insights important to build a successful business. EdTech, for one, there has been a lot of hype around it over the years. But these insights, which you mentioning right now over the conversation, these are so crisp. These are so unique in its own sense. Finding the real value for the end customer, and then building the whole business, evolving the whole business around it. And I think, any business for that matter, are built upon these key insights around the consumers. And then more you spend time, more you have the conviction around the whole industry, you're able to extract these. I mean, what you just spoke now, it's feel like a gold mine. This is such a powerful insight. The moment you said, why did you shift from a student maybe to, people who have been practicing law, to people who are now wanting to work for the US market, etc. These are such a deeper insights about that. And I always, when I speak to founders, some founders who have really built a fundamentally strong business, I always come across this. And the moment this comes in picture, I always like, oh, this guy know what he's doing.
So there is very interesting thing happened in the next, right after this, right?
Okay.
So what happened is that we saw people getting, so a lot of people will come to us and say that, I want to do your course, but I'm struggling to pay my EMI. To learn law, it will take me 6 months minimum. Like whatever, we will focus on one area that, okay, Pareto principle, learn this much, you can do most of it. Like you'll get work after this. But even then, people would be like, ये तो 6 महीना मुझे लगेगा, अभी I need to pay EMI now, can you help me? So you would get them some basic work like, चलो blog लिख लो कोई law firm के लिए, or you write, do some data entry work, basic virtual assistant, and they would start earning $10 per hour in that also. So then some of those people started earning a lot of money. They would be like, I don't want to learn law anymore. I am making reels for dentists in US. It's enough. Like, I'm making enough money. Now I don't want to do this. Somebody's working with some cryptocurrency startup and doing recruitment, law student, but doing recruitment. And doing so well, doesn't want to do anything anymore. So then we said that, okay. And then they will come to us and say that, you taught me to how, because our team helped them get that work and do all of that. So they'll be like, can you teach my brother how to get this work or help my brother? Brother is not a law student. So what do we do? So then we had this internal debate, almost entirety of 2022, that should we launch something outside of law?
Okay.
Because we are a law focused, like all these years, 5 years we have been doing law. Our entire background is in law. Should we do something else? Then we did it. Like we did a course on virtual assistant, one on content writing, because we knew this people are getting work on these things. And it did well. So January 2023, we launched skill arbitrage. In December 2022 we launched, but January was the first revenue. That was a huge game changer for us, because the same playbook we did for law students and lawyers, we were able to replicate it for HR, for CSCS, for even so many other categories, content writing, design.
Wow.
And the challenge was never in teaching those skills. The challenge was that whole playbook, that how do you connect with work with SMEs and startups in US? How do you get work from them? How do you build trust with them? And we realized that getting work for law is harder. Everything else is even much easier, because law is regulated, they have confidentiality questions, data protection questions. The other stuff, they were like, you can write a blog for my blog, for my website, or you can create my social media content, build another marketing funnel for me. Nobody says no to it. It was so much easier to get all that work. Currently, so that doubled our business in the next year.
Okay.
Right? So very soon we are doing like 5 crore revenue per year, per month. 5 crore revenue per month.
Wow.
Then we acquired Data is Good, which is data science.
Okay.
The pure play data science. We acquired them. So when we acquired them, we are doing 75 lakh, 80 lakh kind of revenue per month. Not profitable. Now they are profitably. They last month they did 1.3 profitable. So same playbooks. And what is even more beautiful is that we are teaching courses in India so that people can do work in US. Now we are able to sell courses in the US. People sitting in Noida and teaching in US. And there is a huge demand for that also. Coaching, training, courses, delivery. So US is, North America is emerging as a significant market for us.
Wow.
So that's how it is. Now we're doing it in India, but now we can do this.
So how much of your revenue right now is coming from US versus coming from India?
So last month, 60 lakh kind of revenue would have come from, 60, 70 lakhs came from US, UK, Canada kind of markets.
Okay.
And out of 6 crores. So you can guess, like, it's still not significant, but look, you sell, to 100 people in the US, this is a valid market. It's going to work from here. So that moment we have crossed.
Now, coming to understanding your customer base, how do you acquire? The first question would be, who's your customer right now? How do you define them?
70% of our learners are above the age of 30. These are people who want to learn more, but most of the courses around the world are built for some college graduate or somebody to get their first job, that kind of thing. But very little exists in terms of advanced courses for advanced learners. Especially people have significant experience. And somebody who wants to earn more, launch a consulting business, this kind of thing, there is very little available.
Sure.
So our courses are geared towards that. How to get remote work. One of our majorly successful course is for women who dropped out of the workforce and want to work remotely. That's a very successful program. We have a successful program for senior professionals who want to learn AI tools. So you are a senior professional with 20 years of experience, 10 years of experience. Now you want to, learn the cutting edge tools which will make you more productive, or you want to launch a consulting business, get clients. How do you go about that? So we have those kind of programs. Then basically our target is, you're doing something in India, can you do it in the US remotely?
Nice.
If you are interested in that, then probably you will find our course is very valuable.
Okay, so it's a niche that, it's for lawyers, but, it's for people.
Anybody. We have design, we're doing really good creative
Okay, but
writing and
largely
everything.
focus on people who want to look for something remote in the US? Is it what you're saying?
Yeah, so that is a value proposition. Okay. So few things. We have test prep courses where we are really good. So in law, we are one of the best test prep players. But our test prep is only in there, in law, restricted there. But other than that, in all the categories, whether law or HR or data science, everywhere data science still lot of jobs in India also. People do get jobs in India also, they get clients in India also. Because the same principles apply everywhere.
So Ramanuj, you spoke about customers, but how do you find them, or how do they find you?
Most of our leads, there are two places where leads come from. One is organic, one is inorganic. So organic leads is about 30%. So people find a course, they're looking for a course, they find somewhere and they land up on our website, or they're reading our blog, and from there we generate leads, or they watch something on YouTube and come from there. All of that happens. 70 to 80% leads are inorganic.
Okay.
And inorganic leads take a much longer to obviously convert. But how we do it is, so basically most of our leads are currently generated for our boot camps.
Okay.
So we are running live boot camps every month, multiple boot camps. So people register for the free boot camps.
What are boot camps?
So these are like live events which happen over the weekend.
Okay.
3 days, 3 hours each. So 9 hours live,
And you
intensive
charge for
learning session. These are free.
These are free.
I will tell you that come to the boot camp. I will show you step by step how you can build relationship with people in the US, with businesses in the US. How can you, if you're targeting, let's say, a doctor's clinic or a small SaaS startup or maybe a school or whatever, everybody needs content, right? So how will you build relationship with them? How will you build your credibility with them? How will you show them your track record? How will you build the track record in the first place? And then how will you pitch to them? So we give them a lot of value in that free boot camp.
It's very similar to the freemium strategies that
Yeah.
SaaS people use.
So the whole idea is that once you realize that you can do it, and this is all the things that requires for you to do to actually do it. So most of the people at that point, some people will say, okay, I want to do it myself. Thank you very much. But a lot of people will say, okay, can you handhold me to do it?
Got it.
Or even they'll go home, try to do it themselves and come back and say, okay, I tried, but I got stuck here. Can you help me?
And
so this is number one.
When you do these boot camps, offering these boot camps for free versus very
Charging.
small token money.
So yeah, people do that. Most people charge something. So we have done tests.
Okay.
So if we charge something, then we are able to get less people attend the boot camps. And more people are attending when you are not charging. We will do more funnels now. So this funnel has worked really, really well for us. So we have been doing it 3 years. Half of our, like almost 2.5 crore, 3 crore of our revenue every month comes from boot camps. But the thing is that only a certain type of people would have the time or energy to attend a live event. That too on a specific day, on a specific time. You may not even be available that day.
Yeah.
So the rest of the leads then we have to warm up through email, WhatsApp, whatever channels possible, and educate them through those channels.
So what are the channels that have worked for you?
Live events like bootcamp. And then there are people who call and educate people and sell. So there's like live calling.
Got it.
And then the third one that we are experimenting with are auto funnels, automated funnels. So it works like this. So for example, we are launching one in the US right now, which is around for senior professionals who want to run AI tools. So we are saying that, okay, first why don't you buy a $10 coaching call with us where we show you step by step how to set up your Upwork profile that you get results. Because a lot of people go to Upwork, they don't get results. They're like, ye kaam nahi karta, kya hai? But they don't know how to do it. So we'll educate them. Then we say, okay, now that you're buying a $10 thing, you can pay $15 more and get 5 more things. So some people will upgrade to that. Now they got it, they got some value out of it. Then we tell them, you know what, you liked it. Why don't you buy this 25,000 rupees or whatever, like, $400 product, which will give you this course. Like, you will get You paid for one session, now you will get 50 sessions or 20 sessions.
Got it.
And you get all of these help in your journey. So then if they buy it, some people will buy, a lot of people won't buy, that's fine, but you get a percentage of conversion. But you should also upgrade your skills. You should learn XYZ skills, and you can pay, this is a 100-hour live program, pay for this another $1,500 and you can buy this. And now the people who have got value from the call, from this 25,000 rupees, whatever, $400 program, they are saying that, oh, so far this has been nice, so I want to buy more. And they'll buy more. Then it goes like this. And
so it's a step-by-step
value ladder.
value gathering,
And people are trusting you more because they have paid you something and they got value and they paid again and they're a little more. So you ascend them through that ladder.
What channels you use to communicate with your customers? Is it emails? Is it call? Is it
Email?
WhatsApp?
I know, so it will be really valuable if I tell the story. Like I told you the product journey, let me tell you the marketing channel story, right?
Okay.
So what happened is that I told you the first month I was making calls, right? So people will come to our website, leave their email, phone number, and I'll call them and I'll tell them, okay, tell me what are your problems and this is how you can solve it, this is how we can help you and all of that. So it will be a call, right? And then some people would buy, and then they didn't buy, right? So they needed the reminder, that email, you remember that. They'll get the email the last day or whatever, and then they paid. So that's actually a funnel, right? So you got an idea and then you followed up on email and then you bought an automated email. I used to use MailChimp back then, MailChimp follow-up, right? So this was all working good. And then I came across this idea that you need to build a funnel. So a person can only make so many calls. The education that you're giving on that call, can you bring it into a funnel which is automated? So imagine there's a email sequence, right? So first email, you give them a lot of value, right? So you are like, you can download this, here is some resource for you, these are the challenges you're going to face, this is the solution, here is the template, blah, blah, blah. All of that you gave. Or maybe, 10 of your best blog posts you send them by. So now that guy got some value. So now there's a reason for him to open the next email. So you tell them, next email, I will tell you this. Okay, so you create some anticipation. Third part is like you either do a call to action or you give more value and you build more authority. So and tell more stories and that these are the things I need to establish in the mind of my customer before they buy. So you do those one by one.
Interesting.
And then one mail is call to action, like now is the time, please pay, buy now, right? So that, and then if they didn't buy, you try to understand why didn't you buy? What was the problem? So they'll say it's too much pricey or it does not solve X problem that I have. So that understanding is also very important for the next round of. And I had built like 7-8 email funnels. I didn't build the product funnel. Like there are a lot of different types of funnels. I was building email funnels. That's all, right? You download something for free and then you start getting emails. And the email has a sequence and you get convinced and you buy.
So convincing was done by the emails.
You buy the emails, and the order was completed by somebody receiving the call, hardly 2-3 people, and we're doing 25 lakhs revenue, 30 lakhs. So that time something happened, like, some of the emails went to spam. We didn't know the best practices.
Okay.
The software was not right. I don't know what some mistakes we did. It stopped working. It went from 30 back to 20 and 15, and I was like losing my mind. Like,
what is this 30, 15?
30 lakh per month.
Okay.
To it slid back to 15 lakh because mail started going to spam. Revenue is going down. So then we realized, okay, email is not working as good. Let's try WhatsApp. WhatsApp did phenomenally well for us. So we would build, even now we are looking to build bots inside. Like nobody builds for example, what I told you, somebody buys a product and then they upgrade it, then they go and buy a $400 product, then they buy a $1,500 product. All of that does not happen inside a bot. Even like, so very interesting. So we learned a lot of things from the Russian internet. So my girlfriend is Ukrainian and she was like a director of marketing there. She changed her career like 20 years back. So she saw me struggling a lot, doing a lot of webinars, not able to do anything. So she told me like, you should do boot camps. So we learned the boot camp format and the style and everything from there. We realized that a lot of our success depends on not telling people everything in the boot camp. How much we can prepare them before the boot camp. Ideally, we should be able to tell them everything that we need to tell them except for the call to action before the boot camp. So how do we do that? Email, okay, but a lot of people don't know, open email. So can you send them SMS? Okay, SMS also. Then we automated calls are there to remind them to come to the boot camp. Then we would use automated email to tell them that go and check your email. We have sent you this amazing thing in your email. Go and check it. And then WhatsApp. Now, the brilliant thing about a WhatsApp is that you can build a WhatsApp bot which can educate you. So this drip funnel doesn't have to be today you got this mail, next day another email. It can be like, oh, you read this. Now you said, okay, you want to read more. So you got one more installment. So the funnel can entirely take place inside a bot.
A lot of people say, WhatsApp is pretty expensive as compared to email or any other channel. Do you even face that or, use some differently?
It is expensive, but it is still the best one in terms of reaching out to people, right? So if you're cost of marketing makes sense if your funnel is deep, if you're able to extract the value from the leads. So when we started, what was the problem? My first time I started a course, I ran ad, and people came to the website and went away. If they bought, otherwise they went away. Now you're like, what the hell? I spent so much money, I'm not even getting the money back. Then I said, you know what? What if I caught their email ID? Give them an exit intent pop-up saying that don't go away, you don't want to buy right now, download this free ebook, put your email. People would do that.
True.
Now they download it with the email. Now send them more emails and then they buy. Because very few people will buy something, especially in our case, like say you are selling something 50,000, 60,000 rupees product. They won't buy the first time they see it. So either you show them ads again and again and they will one day buy, which is very expensive, or you got their email or their WhatsApp, I don't know what you somehow push notification, whatever it takes, right? And you need to keep the conversation going.
So the whole strategy is to keep them engaged with,
give them value, mature the relationship. It's a funnel. So sell them something small, qualify them, give them more, and keep going, So keep maturing the relationship. So a lot of times people would buy a course from us, and when we check, they first came to us 2 years back and now they're buying. Now this is one thing. Another thing we are seeing is that in an industry like law, so we are now in many industries. So it's a different situation in the other industries. But in law, everybody knows us. They have perhaps already been to one or two of our boot camps. Their email is certainly in our system. Their phone number is already... So they're already in touch with us. There are 20 lakh lawyers. I would suspect 10 lakh are already in our system, if not more. Maybe 15.
And that was the most creamy part of it anyway.
The best market... So everybody is not going to buy. Right? True, so that base 10 lakh people are already definitely on web. Now the only thing you can do is you can build trust. The early adopters who just see your product and get excited and buy, those are gone.
Got it.
You have to offer more value, build deeper relationships. So what we are doing, so even our focus is on not only communicating again and again, because communication is expensive. Can you go beyond these email and WhatsApp messages? Because we believe, this is our belief, that big tech doesn't want you to reach your customers. I have 10 lakh lawyers, but big tech doesn't want me to reach them freely, effortlessly, even if they want to read my stuff. They will say, oh, maybe your leads don't want to hear from you all the time, but in reality, they don't want me to reach them freely. Then who will run ads, right? I'll stop running ads. I have got all the lawyers. I'll stop running law ads. So they will make it more and more expensive and harder to reach. It is in their interest. So how do you reach out to them? You disintermediate by creating something where you can directly reach out. So push notification is a major thing. For example,
push notification means
browser push. Then your app push.
Okay.
So we are building apps which are entirely engagement products.
So you'll have to create your own channels to be able to keep them engaged. You can't rely on this big tech channels.
That is there. WhatsApp is great, we'll send them WhatsApp. Email is great, we'll send them email. But you also have to figure out how you directly get in touch with them. So for example, can you build an app that people will have to use every day in your category? So what we did, for example, we went and built a job site. First, we were trying to get data from Naukri.com. That can we figure out who's... we have a course, let's say, on real estate law. Can you give me who are the people who are applying for real estate jobs and not getting because I can help them. So eventually they didn't give us. They tried to launch their own courses, whatever. Anyway, we didn't get it from them. So we said, okay, we'll launch our own job board. We launched our job board. That is getting phenomenal traction, like organic traction, right? And all we do is we post jobs. People can come and apply. So we know who's applying. We are not using those leads like in our business. But now I'm building an app that people will download and it'll be sitting on their phone. So if I want to tell them, hey, you have been applying for a lot of real estate jobs, we are doing a boot camp where your questions, this problem will be solved, they will sign up for it. And it is relevant, right? So I can do that. So like, for example, Zomato sends you those messages every hour that, are you hungry? You like pineapple cake or whatever, like, do you feel like some sambar, whatever.
Yeah. It's just constant, strategic investment, strategic engagement of the
correct,
customer.
and they don't have to pay WhatsApp for that. They don't have to pay. I have switched them off, but a lot of people have them on. I know it really works. So that's the magic of being able to communicate with your clients directly. So to answer your question, that we know that we want to spend money on ads, and our marketing funnel is so deep, so we can extract a lot of value from every lead that we create, and over time we can upsell, resell, whatever. But and when you're building an entire ecosystem, it becomes much easier. But we also want to directly reach our potential learners.
So if I can summarize that, it's like, to be able to reach out to customers, you definitely have to start on a lot of these surrogate channels or paid channels. But then eventually you have to think about building your own channels, own database, and ways of keeping them engaged. It's not just about selling the product, it's about engaging the product, keeping them in the loop, keeping them in the journey, and then when they're ready, they
keep the conversation going.
Do you think any major behavior change in terms of how people are buying a tech course is happening currently with a lot of tech, or the world changes, or do you think the fundamental gonna remain the same?
EdTech has become a difficult proposition for a lot of people, not only for investors, even for buyers. Because truth be told, what is the problem with EdTech? The problem is that I have also bought so many courses which I never actually did anything, right? I bought the course, never attended the classes, never read the material. But it's not even EdTech. Think of how many books you have in your rack at home which you thought you will be reading, but you haven't. That's the fundamental problem. So people are not getting value out of EdTech courses, partially there to be blamed. EdTech industry is like the gym industry.
That's a good analogy.
Okay, on 1st of January, 10,000 people sign up in your gym. You know that not even 500 are going to show up like 2 months from now, right? But you sell a year-long subscription. And that's how, because the people who are using are subsidized by the people who are not using. And that's how the business runs. This is the problematic side. The good side is this, that if you can solve for actual usage, you get tremendous result out of it. Right? So imagine I don't go to a gym, I have a trainer at home. Because the trainer shows up at 9 o'clock Saturday and Sunday. He'll be in my house, in my living room. If I don't work out, I have no option. I have to. Right?
Got it.
So how can I push things from the gym side to the trainer side? Who is going to show up? So basically, the entire success for us is that we know 10-15% people study. But how do I push my numbers up to 50%? With a coach who calls you, who interacts with you, with assignment, with continuous feedback, with gamification. How do I push you? And a lot of human intervention. How do I push you towards success?
What you're saying is, at the end, the value is giving the value to customer.
Yes, so somebody can crack it. There is a lot of value in that.
At large, do you think this is what happened wrong with EdTech industry? Or, what?
I will tell you a conversation I very vividly remember with another EdTech entrepreneur. So this EdTech guy had a media company and he was trying to launch EdTech. So he would come and tell me that your content is great. Why don't you give me this content?
Okay.
And I have this much distribution, I will launch it. But he will be like, मुझे तो कैंड कोर्स ही बेचना है. कैंड मतलब जो यूडेमी वाला मामला, राइट? सो यू हैव रिकॉर्डेड क्लासेस, दैट्स इट. मटेरियल है, पीडीएफ है, वीडियो है, क्विज है, बस. आई इवन गेव हिम like 2-3 courses and then I was like नहीं करना मुझे, because I from that time I believe that this is not going to work, because this I know, I'm aware of this problem. So the problem, see, I can't compete with YouTube and Udemy and all of that. What is my moat? Somebody will take the content and create it and give it for free, download and give it for free. What is my moat? What is the value I'm adding? So it became clear to me the value I'm adding is the success. People have to get jobs, internships, clients, something. If they can make money because of my course, I will succeed. If they don't, I will not succeed. So that guy said, but ये तो scalable नहीं है. मैंने बोला क्यों scalable नहीं है? इसको scalable करना है. That is the, and I think that's where we diverge from a lot of other companies. That's why we also didn't get funding, because other people were saying we are scalable. Look, we are doing. We are saying no, but जो भी है मतलब यही है. मतलब if you, there's no point being scalable when you can't do this, right? So we focused on how do we train people to produce more teachers, to produce more coaches. How do we make that effective? How do I track? That's why I went in an entirely different direction from most of the other EdTech players.
Do you think it's a larger fight with the value and the scale, or do you believe the value can be driven with the scale?
Value can be driven with the scale. There is more value with scale. There is no problem. See, what is happening, the bigger we grow, we can create better content. That is one part of it. We can spend more money on content, good teachers, all of that. The other thing is that we have created an AI software which essentially takes your assignment and creates initial feedback and comments. So you get one-on-one comment, and then a human being intervenes and checks the comments, and they are mandated that you have to add more value. So they add more value, and then the learner gets it. Learner is getting super one-on-one feedback. But it is, I mean, so what is the value in learning something, right? If you're, one is learning a skill. So one is that you are learning a skill means any skill, you cannot learn it by watching a video. You cannot learn it by reading a book. If I tell you that here is a book on swimming, read this and then I'll throw you into the ocean, will you trust me? No.
Definitely not.
No. Right? If I tell you that here is a video of Rahat Fateh Ali Khan singing, now you watch this and sing, you are not going to be able to. Here is a tutorial by Kasper of teaching how to play chess. Good luck. After that, you will not be able to defeat Vishwanathan Anand, right? So what creates value in education is that you practice. So you you do something, and then somebody tells you this is what you're doing right, this is what you're doing wrong, and you practice for in 1 hour. Every day you practice for 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever it is that you can afford. And if you do this again and again and again, and somebody again and again correct your mistakes, you will become good. How do we scale this? And we figured out how to scale this. And not only just by using AI, you can scale human beings also. Like you have, Urban Company does such a good job. I'm a big fan of that company, right? It's service. But they do it so well, right? Standardization, high quality training, creating the incentives, giving people a dignity of doing a good job, getting. So all of that you have to create, and we are able to create that in our space. So we are able to produce results, and it's also the DNA you create in the organization that we celebrate every success story. We look forward to success stories every day in our WhatsApp groups, everything. Oh, this student did this, and everybody's like, wow, what an amazing thing, and wow, like that. Then everybody is trying to produce more of that wow.
How much of your customer base are actually attached to that kind of community you mentioned?
We haven't done a great job of community development. We have created communities, a lot of members, but we are not doing a great job at driving more value to those communities. So one of the challenges I'm going to solve in the next 3 months is driving more value. I'm hiring people, building teams, figuring out how to drive more value into each of those communities. And the more you drive value in those communities, you're like, basically we know we can take our conversion percentage from 2% to even possibly 5 to 6%. If we do a good job, that's when I'll know that I'm doing a good job with the communities. Because trust will be so high.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I ask you a very generic, response to this question, that there are so many players in edtech, be it different segments, but largely the world has seen a lot of companies around edtech. What made LawSikho that unique, that differentiated? If I ask you that one factor, the topmost factor which actually differentiates.
This is the factor. We didn't shy away from services thinking that it will not be scalable. We said jitna scale ho sakta hai karo, but you have to produce that result. That is what drives the value.
That's actually, brings me to a very important concept, and I've heard a lot of good entrepreneurs talking about it. They say, do not focus on your product, focus on the customer and build an ecosystem around it. Try to serve them completely. That's always, I think, helps create a biggest moat, because then your customer is like completely engulfed in your services.
We know, for example, that people are coming to us for upskilling when they're 30 years old. Now, I want to catch them in college. They may not, very few people in college will buy a 50,000 rupees course. So how do I engage them? They're reading my blog. So I realized, can I help them to prepare for their college exams? Let's build a product for that. It's very difficult to study a big fat law textbook. Can I break it down into micro learning and give them an app for that? Let's do that. Can I build a legal research AI engine which will make their research easier? Let's do that. So everything that is
very powerful.
So that people are in my ecosystem.
Ramanuj, another interesting aspect that I liked about your company is you built it remote now. We have seen companies actually moving back to work from office after pandemic, gradually or instantly, whatever happened. How did you decide to sustain it that way? How's remote culture in a long run different from the office culture?
So that is the interesting part, that we did not go remote after pandemic.
Okay.
During the pandemic, we had to go. Rest of our team, which was refusing to go remote, had to go remote. Which is two teams.
Achha.
One is that we had an internship department which we kept in the office, and sales that was in the office. I used to go to office.
Okay.
Video recording kind of thing, studio video, that was in the office. Everything else was in our was remote. Why is that? Because when we started building law courses. So imagine somebody is coming to build good quality law courses, take good classes, check assignments, give feedback, mentor people for job interviews. They are really good lawyers. How the hell am I going to hire great lawyers? Because good lawyers are very expensive, right? And I had a budget of 25,000, 20,000 kind of budget.
Okay.
And out of college, those people get 1 lakh rupees per month, right? So how the hell am I going to hire them? So what I did was that I started hiring work from home mothers. Like, there are very few women who have dropped out of legal career. They have done well in their life for some reason, or they want to live with their husbands in a remote place. So they have moved away from practice. They are at home. We started hiring such people. I'll give you one example. In our judiciary coaching program, there's somebody. Okay, she was a judge in Delhi. She cracked the judiciary exam, very good rank. Then she did not join it because she was married to an army officer and she didn't want to be separate from her husband. Okay. So she lives with her husband in like small, cantonment towns, right?
Places, yeah.
And she works remotely from there with us.
Okay.
Now, I could not hire such a talented person who otherwise.
This is like finding a very niche where people, aren't able to access the regular workspaces, but they're like great people.
Great
in
people.
Different parts of India.
So that's how my entire team was remote. We are hiring remote women for everything. Then I said, okay, why not hire remote women, high quality people, even for my support. Let me hire somebody who worked at Amex and now dropped out of the work and would like to work from home. Let's hire them. Why should I hire? And in my budget, I was getting them in my budget.
What do you look in people when you hire them?
You need a hiring strategy in each kind of role, right? But, generally, my approach has been one that I want to see people. I want to answer to I ask myself, do I see this person really work with me for 5 years at least? Do they, or will they jump sooner than that? And if the answer is yes, I don't want to hire them. Another thing is I want to see what they have done. Like, I don't care so much about their background in terms of what industry do they come from, etc. I really count on trials. Like, let me see what you can do. Then there's one theory I really like, very useful for me. So There are barrels and there are ammunitions. If you're fighting a war and you have a lot of ammunitions, it does not increase your firepower.
Okay.
Let me imagine you have 1 cannon or 2 cannon or 3 cannon. How much you can fire is not determined by how much ammunition you have. If you have enough ammunition, then it is about how many barrels you have. Now, if I give you more barrels, you can use more ammunitions. So your firepower increases. So there are people who are ammunition. So they will get, if you tell them what to do, how to do, you give them a SOP, they'll get the job done.
Okay.
And then there are barrels. These are people who are like leaders. They will, doesn't mean they're experienced. It means they can be completely no experience, but they will solve a problem, get it done. These are different kind of people. So you need to know whether you're hiring a barrel or you're hiring an ammunition. Don't confuse. So, for example, if I am hiring more salespeople, if they are going to add bandwidth to the existing system, they are going to be ammunition, right? So they're going to add. I mean they'll add numbers like that, but linear. But then there are people who will create non-linear growth. So, for example, somebody will crack a new country, or somebody will crack a new marketing channel, or a new. So those are different kind of people. Or somebody who is a sales leader, who can make people 30% more productive. So those are barrels.
Sure.
You can never confuse barrels and ammunition. And
Interesting analogy.
There are people who are bad barrels, not good enough. They're still better than ammunition. There are people, they don't work themselves, but they work very less. But they will be able to hire a team, solve a problem. It's a different thing altogether.
Yeah. So Ramanuj, why did you do SME IPO? What made you decide for that particular path or journey?
So I really wanted to do an IPO. I was thinking that in couple of years we'll hit like a good 200 crore type revenue and then do an IPO. This is what I was thinking. Then main board IPO will become feasible and good. But then what happened, I met this guy, I told you, I met this guy, Bipin Agarwal, who now I considered him a mentor, and he convinced me that you should do a SME IPO, because the earlier you start building your track record in the stock market, the better. Okay. Because people start tracking you. If the growth that you're going to have, let's say we were at 50 crore revenue per year. Like from the journey to 50 to 200, you can do it away from the public gaze if there is any good reason for that. Otherwise, you do that journey in front of the public market, and it will be like, first it will give you massive publicity. A lot of people will be excited. It will make a difference to your existing business, because all that publicity matters, right? Because people are talking about your company. Now, if you go in 2 years from 50 to 200 crores, 3 years or whatever, that will give you massive confidence and track record before the public market. Sure, you will lose maybe you can think that you are selling the equity cheaper than you should.
Okay.
But that track record is very valuable. You can do more IPOs in future. You can start new companies, but you can raise again. But that would mean a lot. Like your credibility in the public market will be very big and your investors will also benefit in that journey, in that growth. So it's not like you have to think like only when my growth is maxed out, then only I'll list. Why? Okay. You are not selling the equity only one time, right? And your equity itself will be more and more valuable over time. If the investors are public investors are benefiting. That was a big shift, because when we were negotiating with VCs or PEs, we are thinking ki yaar, you give me the maximum valuation that I can get. Why should I settle for less? Here we shifted to no, we should not target the highest possible valuation. We should leave some money on the table for the investors to make. Okay. That we feel that the fair valuation is here, we should do it a little less. And that's what we did. So our IPO was oversubscribed, massively oversubscribed. There was a big jump during the listing and all of that. So I'm hoping investors made money, and then it failed down. Price came down a little. It's up and down. I have no idea. It has been very short time. 30th January, and now it's April. Not even 3 months. But price went a lot up, then down, and then again stabilizing somewhere. But I think that's how the price finding mechanism of the public market. Nothing has changed. It's not like we have declared some profits or anything. Nothing has changed from the time of the IPO till now in terms of information space, right?
Got it.
But yeah, we in our business we are doing well. I can't talk about price sensitive information and all of
course.
that. But what happens is that and business is on an upward trajectory, and the more our earnings grow over time, it will reflect in the share price.
Got it.
And that itself is big. Like, I think the valuation we could have expected from a PE or VC, today we are valued very well in that, without losing any autonomy to any such investors, because we retain full autonomy on the business direction, right? There are independent directors on the board,
Okay.
but they will not intervene unless we do some really bad things, like harmful to the business. We're doing logical, normal business. Nobody will tell me, no, you don't have to go to US now. Why are you going to US? Have you maxed out Indian market? Or no, you go to US only. Don't do India. That would have happened with a PE or VC.
Got it.
Very well, it happens all the time.
Got it.
Right? We have seen so many other companies that they have to agree with your strategy. Not here.
Got it.
Right?
And
so that is one thing. The other thing is that we believe that, and people say there won't be liquidity. There is liquidity in our stock. As far as I can see, at least in my limited understanding. Right? And there is a real interest in the SME market. I have met so many phenomenal investors. People are taking interest in micro cap stocks.
Okay.
They're trying to find good companies. Right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to understand, like, every week I'll have multiple investors interested in us. There are investors who are trying to help us. Like, if I post a job or something, if I write about something, they'll try to connect us. And like, we got an entire investor community backing us. They believe in us. They want to help us. They want to introduce us to people.
Of course.
It's really good, and I would say that it has been much more pleasurable working with public market investors than trying to work with private investors.
Very interesting insight. You also mentioned there's a big ecosystem change that has happened last couple of years in the SME IPO. Can you speak about
this is my understanding, seeing the market for a while. Not that I'm any expert, but this is how I rationalized my decision.
Sure.
When I got in, I started small investments, mutual funds, etc. Somebody told me that you must do it, and I downloaded an app, started doing it. 2015, 16. We used to invest only in blue chip.
Okay.
Right? Blue chip companies. And mutual fund, but blue chip focused. Then we realized somewhere in 2018 that these companies have got very overvalued. Right? So, sure, you can still invest if you have a 20-year horizon. You can invest, but probably it is better to invest in undervalued stocks. So I started investing in small caps and again, mutual fund. I don't have the time of the day to sit and track stocks and all of that. But I would invest in mutual fund, which is in small cap space, knowing that this is undervalued. Somewhere it has to go up.
Sure.
So there was a mid cap rally that time.
Yeah.
Because people started putting money in mid cap rallied and became overvalued. Then people said, okay, where do we put in money? Small caps. Small cap has rallied like anything. Now everything is overvalued. Then during the pandemic, people said, where do we put money? And SME market started developing because it's micro cap, even smaller than small cap. But generally, interest in the SME market has increased a lot because of this. For obviously, there are speculators also, but genuinely today, if you want to invest in the stock market, Indian stock market is one of the most expensive in the world. And if you think of it, only 6% of Indians, they say, invest in stocks and mutual funds. In the US, 36% people invest in the stock market. Now, if India in future, 30% will also invest, can you imagine how much money will pour in? So where will they invest? Now, already we are the most expensive in large cap, mid cap, small cap. So where is the money going to come? It has to come in, the other option is micro cap.
Got it.
And I think SEBI is also, because of that, trying to create more asset classes. They now said, okay, you can do fractional investment in real estate. This will be also a very big market, etc. India just had last year 7,500 listed companies. That's it, including SME, everything. So where do you put in your money?
Interesting.
Otherwise, those few companies will become extremely expensive. And are there enough large cap more than this? I don't think so. Now SME startups will get listed. So this is what my margin banker told me, when we were considering that In the 1970s, imagine NASDAQ. That is how SME market in India is today.
Oh wow, interesting analogy.
And NASDAQ, it became like the thing, right? So that'll happen. That can happen in India because more innovative companies are coming here. More early stage companies are coming here. So investors stand to make more money.
What kind of startups or business owners you would actually recommend to choose this path?
Traditionally, who has done SME IPOs, right? People who are into manufacturing, people who are into trading. These are the two and some services companies, right? And what this is also something I considered, and I was explained this to me by one mentor, that look at the quality of companies on the board, average, who are getting listed. Do you think you are better? Is your business model better? And I felt, yes, I am much better.
Okay.
Like, so if the pack is this, and you will be ahead of the pack because of your business model, at your growth rate, you can see everything is public, right? You can see their rate of growth, you can see their, what is their return on, like how well they have done and what has been their execution. It's all in public. Now, if you feel that you're ahead of them, it makes sense for you to list because you will be attracting capital.
Got it.
Because that's very natural, and a lot of the companies which struggle to get VC funding because they're startup, tech startup, maybe SaaS, maybe EdTech, maybe FinTech, maybe whatever. FinTech though has gone in big time into that route because you have 5-star finance, you have so many other people did well, and people you look at the IPO market, it's doing so well. Everybody is doing well. Now, if you're a good company, you will do even much better. Because you are ahead of the pack. Like, you will be the top choice of the investors. So that you can judge yourself. You don't have to tell me that this kind of companies. Go look at the pack. Look at yourself. You will know whether you are ahead of the pack or not. Or you are in the middle of the pack. Where are you? You will be able to decide.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. Ramanuj, my end of the day question today is, who do you consider should choose a VC route versus who do you consider should choose for this IPO route?
See, if you really need money at a pre-revenue stage, for example, right, and lot of companies don't need. I believe that they should not be raising money at all. We didn't raise money, right? So, lot of companies don't need to raise money, but they raise money and complicate their own journey. And founders, they don't realize that they are getting some money temporarily, but they are losing equity because of that, losing control over company because of that. Now, if you are in such a business that you need capital for sure, then go ahead and raise at least angel investment.
Okay.
Angel investment is good. I feel it's good because they also bring a lot of network effect, a lot of help and guidance and all of that. Now, if you are somebody who's cash positive, profitable, definitely better to go and do an IPO rather than going to a VC.
Okay.
Because the expectations are much lesser from the market. VCs are very huge expectation from you.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
But not that in the public market. But if you perform like a VC funded the way it happens, right? If you are able to give double, triple growth every year and all of that, then anyway you will have phenomenal rally in your stock price, most probably. This is a great time to do IPO. A lot of money chasing IPO companies, right? A lot of bad companies, like not so exciting companies, in my opinion, are getting oversubscribed.
No.
So, if you are a good company, then see. But if you are pre-revenue, you need a lot of money. Then there are businesses, a deep tech business. It is going to make losses for next 10 years. It is possible. You still might be able to do an IPO. There are technical IPOs where even a loss-making companies can do an IPO. If QIBs, qualified institutional buyers, will buy a certain portion of the equity and all of that, it's possible. But that you should obviously check with merchant bankers, and you should check with multiple merchant bankers what kind of valuation you are getting, what is possible. But yeah, like if you're making a lot of losses, no chance of making any profit anytime soon, you don't have a choice of going public very easily. Unless there's a lot of some kind of capital is already ready to back you.
Okay.
So then you have to go for this kind of risk capital.
Got it.
But if you're a profitable company and breaking even, you should think of how you can do an IPO.
Interesting. Very interesting take, Ramanuj. Thanks for all your time today. I think I had a wonderful discussion understanding the whole space. I was much intrigued by the whole idea of SME IPO, but I think the whole conversation was much beyond it. We spoke about so many things, but interestingly, what I'm taking out of this discussion, that these are some very fundamentally strong businesses which are built on ground, which are away from the larger, say, ups and downs of the whole edtech segment, but done really well. And I see this fundamentally strong, that I know this will keep on growing fundamentally, or keep on building this niche around this edtech niche. But eventually it will be a huge business coming up.
Yeah, that's the plan. Thank you very much for inviting me, and really appreciate the what you are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramanuj.